Wow.
Okay, and welcome back to another episode of Not Your Typical Tea. We are back. So you guys should kind of know our voices by now, but let's do our introductions. It's me, Josh Jordan.
It's me, Coco A.
What? Aren't you Coco B?
Okay, Cheryl. Cheryl.
Coco A. That didn't ring well in my ears.
For the last 2 weeks I've been saying Coco A because you said you wanted to be Sheza B, and I said fine.
I don't remember this conversation.
It's like a girl group bust up every week. It's like a girl group bust up every week, guys.
I'm so sorry. We are clearly
I genuinely thought you were Coco B.
I was, but you couldn't figure out a name, so I let you have Sheza B.
When did we discuss this?
When I said to you, at this point, I'll change my name if you're going to stick with that name, verbatim. I said, fine, I'll change it if you're going to stick to it. If you look at my socials, I've changed everything to Coco A, purely for this reason. Cheryl, you're killing me here.
I can say, as somebody who suffers through this every episode, that is what's happened. So I'm going to start again for the purposes of you guys. And we are embarrassing ourselves yet again in front of a guest. Yet again. But let me just get it together. Hold on.
Cheryl, you know that auntie that comes, Jordan, the auntie that comes at Christmas, and you know she's a little bit problematic, but you really love her. And you know she's going to do some stuff to cause some drama.
We love her, but we know that she's going to say something wild while the turkey's being carved up. Yes, I know. Let's start again. So my name's Josh Jordan.
I'm Coco A.
And I'm Sheza B.
And we are back with another episode of Not Your Typical Tea, guys. Now, what we've been forgetting to do is actually do our social. So let me just do that because we keep forgetting it. And guys, we need you to do what you need to do in regards to your support of us, and we love you. We have some very loyal followers. We have some very loyal fans who literally each week will DM and message and be like, we liked what you said, we're not sure about this part, we love this part. We even have a guest today who's probably going to give us some feedback too. So we're loving it, but we need more. We need more, guys. We need more followers. We need more interaction. We need more comments. So you should be following us on Instagram at Not Your Typical Tea. You should be following us at on TikTok at Not Your Typical Tea _. And I really hope you're also following us on Twitter at NYTT Pod. Yeah, that one doesn't roll off my tongue as nicely. But anyway, follow us on all of them. Follow us and please rate us on our Spotify. We are accepting 4 stars and above. If you have 3-star issues, DM us, talk to us, and we'll get that to be increased to 5 stars because that's what we're 5-star ladies.
Amen.
We expect nothing less. Okay.
Amen.
Okay. So here we are. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jordan. As Jordan did say, we are always really excited to interact with people, especially those who have strong opinions in favor and not always. We are so it's always great. So if you do not agree, obviously, then pop us an email or send us a message. But today we do have a guest. And it is someone very special, and hopefully we're going to get some wisdom, and hopefully we're going to duke it out with the points that we don't agree with. But he is a friend of a mutual friend. So would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi guys, my name is Kwame.
Hi Kwame. Oh, come on guys. Oh, okay.
Hi Kwame.
I'm in a bit more vroom.
Oh no, I was expecting Kwame to be like, oh, I'm.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you know, Kwame's enough for now.
Kwams. Is it Kwame or Kwams?
I mean, people call me both, so I'm not too fussed.
Okay. And tell us a bit about you, Kwame. What do the people need to know?
I mean, at the moment, I would say check out one of my pages, which is called Tailor Different. We showcase black men's tailors and designers over there. So from your trad pieces to your suits, all bring by black men. Or black designers, so not just black men, they could be black women as well, that do best fashion.
Oh wow, that's very exciting.
And what was the at again? It was tailored suits.
At tailored different.
At tailored difference.
Different.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we I got a message from a friend of mine who said that you do listen to the pod. Shout out to that friend, he's a real one. And he said that, you know, you wanted to have a chat about some of the stuff that we did say. I don't know why you're laughing. Every time I say this to you, you kind of have a little giggle.
I mean, it's not necessarily like a...
Are we doing the two truths, one lie?
Oh, the two truths, one lie. Do you have those ready?
I can have the ready, yeah.
All right, let's go for it. Let's do that first then.
All right, so two truths, one lie.
Remember, we got a guess when it comes to lie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, The first one is I was on a plane that had two engines for fail. I was casted to be Biggie Smalls in a production, and I'm an accountant.
Did you say you were casted? Because I ain't never seen you in a Biggie Small movie.
You never know. Maybe I was casted. Maybe I just didn't get the role at the end. But you know, just
And you're an accountant.
And I'm an accountant. Yeah.
And you were on a plane where two engines failed.
Yeah.
I think that's two engines. How many engines are there on a plane?
I think there's
Four
like
sometimes.
Four sometimes.
I think that's true.
I think the plane thing is not true. Because you said four sometimes, and anyone who's been through that trauma would go and Google and think how many planes there were to know that two failed.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say the Biggie Smalls because
it's a lie or it's true.
It's a lie. Not because you wouldn't make a great Biggie Smalls, but
can you just give us one rap?
Do we have an
one line?
Yeah, give us one.
Give us one of your favorite Biggie lines, okay?
Oh,
and you can't do. I like it when you call me Big Papa.
Well, of course he can do. That's a classic. He can do that one.
That's a classic.
Okay, go on. Let's hear it then.
I love it when you call me Big Papa.
Now put your hands in the air.
That was so posh,
player. See, this is why I don't believe that you could have been Biggie Smalls, because you done it with the most Englishest accent.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a long time ago. It's a long time ago now. You know?
How long ago?
We're talking like we're in our 30s now, so it's probably about at least a decade.
The way you're and ahhing, I'm not convinced.
No, that sounds right.
I think the Biggie is a lie. I think everything else is true.
I think the plane is a lie, and I think you went into audition for Biggie Smalls. I don't know how far you went, but that's my view, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, put us out of our misery, please.
So the Biggie Smalls one is a lie.
Woo! Yeah.
You don't say.
You like it?
I believed you could have been Biggie Smalls.
I mean, I could have. I don't know at the time, but yeah. I was on a plane. It had two engines failed in the mid-Atlantic. We were going to like New York, and both engines on the same side. But yeah, I'm still here.
So really?
What did you do in that moment?
I mean, what can you do? You just sit down and you wait for the pilot to tell you what's happening next, and then you just.
I feel like you're giving us the reflective.
Yeah.
I mean, whereas there's very different ways of responding to that situation. I think.
I mean, all right. So what was I like 17 at the time? And yeah, what else you want to do? Like, you can't go anywhere. You're on a plane. It's not like you can, even if you shout and you scream. Like, I'm trying to watch these movies, man. I'm trying to watch these films. Like, I'm not trying to. There's no need for me to be up and down and talking to all these different talking to the airline stuff. Just wait for them to tell you what to do.
Did you see your life flash before your eyes?
I mean, it was at the point, like, when we was crashing, when it was coming down, and, like, it was coming to Heathrow, we come back to Heathrow, and we're landing, and you're looking like, this is a bit shaky, but other than that, it was cool.
Wow.
If I'm on a plane that's descending, not out of choice, I want to have your confidence.
It wasn't descending. He just turned around. He just turned around. Like, one engine failed, he turned around. I was like, okay, like, what's going on here? Then he told us that the engine failed. Is my internet going on? No, sorry.
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Okay, sure. So yeah, and then yeah, he turned around and then one engine failed. He told us one engine failed. We're coming back to the UK, and then he told us another engine failed. I was like, okay, yeah, God is in control on it. So what can I do? I just got to stay calm.
Did the pilot have said anything? Like, do they have to tell you? Because actually,
I think they need to tell us that we're not going to get to our destination. That's what they need to tell us. Yeah, because they need to tell us that we're going to have to give you like some sort of alternative arrangements, because all the plans, people are going back to work next day and all them kind of things there. So
surely they should tell you once it's landed.
No.
Because you know what, you risk.
You guys sound like you worry a lot, you know.
No, I think you risk the panic. The reason why I'm saying it, as much as you were calm and chill and quiet, and I think I maybe would have responded the same way. I think I would have probably gone into myself. I would have been in prayer. It would have been me and God on that flight, having chats, having discussions, having prayer. I would have found my Bible app. I would have switched my phone back on. I would have been having going through Psalms. I would have been reading Numbers. I'm having chats, yeah. But not everybody responds that way, and I wonder if to not have said anything is to like keep people calm, because if people freak out on a plane.
Woo! Okay, so what's the alternative? He's turning back to London and he's telling us.
Then you don't know he's turning. You just
but you can feel like on a plane. You can feel when it's turning around, isn't it?
Yeah, but he could have been dodging the turbulence.
Yeah.
Nah. When you're doing like when you're in a car and you bust a U-turn, it's not a turbulence thing. It's I'm going back around. So
also, it shows on the flight path, doesn't it? So you can see that
you can't hide it. Where are you gonna hide it?
That's true.
You can't just do a full 180 and then say, oh yeah, it's a turbulence thing. No, we're going back.
So you felt the plane be like,
yeah, we felt like
the pilot was like,
this is not going straight. It's turning and we're turning. It's like, okay, we're going back. Why are we going back for? So if he didn't say nothing, it'd have been worse.
I don't know why I just got an image of the pilot doing, the meme where the girls like when they find the men attractive when they're doing the reverse and they put do that with the arm on the back and the girl starts getting
just show the passengers a video of that. They'll be like, ooh, okay,
you got this, Mr. Pilot.
That is so funny. Well, thank God you were fine, and thank God that was fine, and you made it back safely.
Amen to that way.
I feel like you have a very logical response to danger, which would be interesting in case of emergencies or fires, or attacks.
Somebody's got to stay calm, innit? Somebody has to stay calm. Like, not everybody can, be just worried. Like, what are we going to do? Like,
I'm going to scream. I'm going to start yelling. I'm shaking, fetal position. What else is dramatic?
The bows are coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all gonna know I speak tongues today. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, and when you elevate your tongues, sometimes sometimes there's a new one. You come and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do that. new tongues, baby.
Times of panic.
God, I remember there was once where there was, I think it was 7/7 attack, in London. It might have been that one. Listen, I had I think that was in moments of danger, my faith increases.
One of those was like literally on the corner from me. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, they attacked.
Yeah, one of the bus ones. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Literally on the corner from me. Like I was going to school along that path all the day, every day. But yeah,
that's mad.
That actually feels like a lifetime ago. Like, if you think about how. And we would have been really young. I think I would have been...
we were 16. What? I was 16.
Is it?
The 777?
Yeah, 17 at the time.
Yeah, I was 16.
I was doing my work experience in TK Maxx in Purley Way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember we were young. We were like 15, 16. And all the managers were like, everyone just started panicking in the shop, like people that were shopping. And then the managers were like, we're going to need all of you to call your parents to come get you, because there's been some bombings. So, and everyone started calling, so people didn't know whether we were school. That day, luckily, I think my mum would have been in the area, but she decided to take the day off work.
Oh,
Okay, God.
Yeah. It was really random.
That's crazy.
It's funny when you think back and remember where you were at these like pivotal times in society. Yeah, crazy. I remember where I was when 9/11 happened. We were even younger, and I was going to my friend's house after school, and I remember her mum picking us up, and just being like, "There's been something happen," and we were like, "Okay," but we were how old at 9/11? We were like what, like 11 or 12 or something like that.
Yeah,
we were young.
Yeah.
And I remember her mum was like driving us home in just absolute like silence. I'm probably, as I reflect now, like probably like crying, and me and my friend being in the back of the car, like just like cracking jokes because we were 11 and nothing would register with us. But her mum being so somber, like it's just mad. It's mad.
That was definitely the first of that kind of attack, like 9/11. I think somehow we've become slightly desensitized.
To our lifetime, in our lifetimes, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
We've seen some stuff in our lifetime, you know, like the kids after us, like to come, that have to do their history exams. Wow. Like, they've got to know the pandemic. They've got to know the bombings. They got to know, what else have we had? Trump.
Yeah.
All the diseases, COVID,
all the Ebola,
monkeypox.
Please,
I saw a picture of monkeypox yesterday, and I was like, "We can't go through this."
No, I was going to say the same thing. Bring back COVID.
I've not actually looked at it. You know,
it looks like what leprosy would look like. If
it does,
what you could imagine, what you would
imagine leprosy looking like.
Yeah. Okay. It's like boils on the skin. Like imagine whenever the Egyptians got those plagues, it's like visible boils in the skin about 0.5 centimeter big and like shiny, you know.
The thing is, you just saying that, I'm just like, guys, are we ending? Are we
in the end times?
Are we in the end?
Yes.
Are we? No, like let me.
We are.
We were not expecting this podcast to be morbid. However, are we getting there? Because tutus were flooding the other day. We're then in hellfire a few weeks ago.
Flooding where?
There was floods. We flooded in this country the other day, like badly. We flooded in certain parts.
It was in May.
And then last 2 weeks, we're learning what hell feels like because it's so hot.
40 degrees is not nice, you know. Can't do 40 degrees in this country. 40 degrees in this country is too much. Like, it's not like 40 degrees in Ghana.
No, it's so disrespectful. It's so awful. Disrespectful.
They've had plagues and like locusts. You know, they have had
locusts.
They have had locusts.
Locusts.
There's locusts as well.
Yeah,
locusts as well.
Was like last year, was it?
Now we've got monkeypox, which looks like boils on the skin. Now I don't know. I feel like I'm in Prince of Egypt personally. I don't know.
Deliver us.
Deliver us.
To the promised land.
As much as that's my tune, it's never felt more real. It feels real.
Oh God.
My prayer. I need to be increasing my prayer life because I'm. So this is just a self-drag. Let me even write a little note to myself. Sorry, guys, continue. Sorry.
Oh,
someone was like, "If this is what hell feels like, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I'm going.
I don't want it.
Lord.
I don't want it. Oh dear.
All right. Now that we have discussed apocalyptic matters, what a light-hearted subject to get started with. Let's get into our conversation topic of the day. So, Kwame, have you got your gloves on?
Gloves? Wow, what are we doing? What kind of question is this?
I've got a bell here.
Okay.
3-minute rounds.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we're going toe to toe.
We stay ready.
Just for argument's sake, I am actually very rubbish at physical fighting. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I just wanted to say that because I saw something the other day where sorry, again, another tangent, because obviously I can never focus. I saw this thing on TikTok where these mums were like telling their kids, put your shoes on. There's a woman outside.
So funny.
I'm going to go fight her. And then they were just videoing how the kid would respond. And I know for a fact, my mom would be like, no, girl, no, we're not fighting anybody.
Would you?
Yeah, I'm not.
No, I'd get my gloves off. I'm a scrapper.
She'll list the scupper.
If hold on, so let me just ask this, and Kwame, we're gonna ask individuals, we're gonna go around the room.
Mhm.
So if your mum comes to you, Coco A, and says, listen, there's one woman outside from the congregation who keeps on moving mad, she's come and fight me, and she's brought her daughter because her daughter wants to fight you. Let's go, put your shoes on, let's go. What are you telling your mum?
Okay, realistically, my hyperbolic answer would be, no, I'm not fighting because I'm not a fighter. But if somebody was attacking a parent or a family member, specifically children and my sister, I'm fighting. But if it's something that I've seen coming and I know the person is crazy and there's not going to be much resolution if we do that fight, then I'll be like, we shouldn't bother. But if it's an attack thing and it's self-defense, then obviously I would do what I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shez?
I'm scrapping. I'm scrapping. Let's go. Where is she?
Where is she?
I'll take both of them. The mum and the daughter. Let's go.
Okay.
Kwame?
Yeah. I mean, I'm good guy, man. It's go time.
What's it?
Go time.
Go time. It's go time, man. We gotta go, man. We gotta go. Yeah, 100%.
Jordan, what about you?
You know what? It would be so out of character for this to ever happen to my mum. Obviously, I'm sure it's out of character for all of our mothers. I would lose my mind. I'd be out the house like faster than my mum. Like before she even told me, she'll be like, "Oh, there's a woman outside. Who's outside with her daughter?" Okay, bet. Bet.
Yeah, you see that?
Shoes are on.
Yeah.
Shoes are on. Vaseline's on the face. The hair is in a ponytail. Where is she? Where are they?
My friend done it to her.
My mum. Okay.
My friend done it to her 4-year-old. And she was like, yeah, mummy's gonna fight someone. You need to go so she can fight the girl. She's like, okay. And then as soon as she gets up, she's like, wait, hang on. And then she goes,
oh, that is so funny.
her instant reaction was like, okay, let's go. And then it was like she settled in what her mother just asked her. She was like, no, I'm scared.
It's not happening.
Oh,
Honestly, I mean, I was like, it was interesting to me because I think I saw a lot of the videos, and what I saw from the videos that I witnessed was a lot of the girls were like, I'm ready, like scrappy, let's go. And I saw a few of the boys as well, but I saw a lot of the boys were like, hold on, mum, stop. Let's think about this. So I could get beaten up. Oh, like I'm not sure about that. Like, can't you ask dad to go? Like people like there was a few boys who were very like let's think about this rationally.
Yeah.
Let's just.
But we have to go to Target.
There's one like who was like silently crying. I was like, this is so interesting. I think it's interesting in the way that we maybe stereotype like children, and boys will respond this way and girls will respond this way, because the stereotype does not fit the reality.
There was one boy that was like, nah, and then carried on playing his video game. Get out of my room.
Honestly, it's wild.
All
right, sorry, another tangent
over. All right, so yeah, you mentioned that there was something that you wanted to have a chat about with us, so I'll give you the floor.
So I think so. You're talking about like stuff I've heard on the podcast previously, which I disagreed with. I think one thing I disagreed with was where there was another host that she left the last podcast with
Esther.
And she was saying because as you're successful women, that means that you necessarily get brought to the top of the front of the queue when it comes to dating. And that's not, for me, that if you to say it like that doesn't, I'm misunderstanding what men are looking for. Because
sorry, can you repeat that? Is it what did she say?
From what I can remember, she said that because you're successful women in your careers or in your personal lives, that means you should be brought to the top of the queue when it comes to dating. And for me, if you're looking at it that way, then you're misunderstanding how men look at dating. And not necessarily, from my point of view, from most of the guys I know, the money that you have is not necessarily what makes you more attractive to us, or what makes you somebody more inclined to date, because that money is your money. You're not going. It's not. We're not going to be able to partake in this. So whatever you've been able to achieve is great, but at the same time, it's not necessarily something that will make us more attractive to you. Make you more attractive to us, and make you more inclined to date you.
Do you know what was really funny is I had this. I actually forgot about that conversation, but I had a similar conversation with a friend yesterday, and we were talking about the exact same thing, and I actually said what you said. I was like, men don't. When I'm looking at how, like, the dating scene, when you're talking to guys, when you're speaking to guys and you talk about the physical things that you've achieved, it sounds nice, and men are they respond well to it. But in the crux of things, a man doesn't actually care about that stuff. The physical, like, education, I'm a this, I'm a that. They will marry someone that hasn't got any of that. But if I know Esther and I know her as a person, I don't think that she was saying that in isolation. I think she was talking about us as a whole, as women, as in our emotional attributes, our spiritual attributes, our education, the way we respond to conflict. I don't think it's what we've achieved in isolation. I think if she was talking about, if you look at us as a whole, individual, why shouldn't we be put at the front of the queue? And why should we not toot our own horn? Because there's so many people that will tell you what ideal is. And most of the time in this society, we don't fit that. So if we're not going to toot our own horn, who's going to do that for us?
I get that. And I can appreciate that. But at the same time, if we're just talking about dating, if we are talking about dating, especially within the Black community, if you are a woman that's successful, because of that, maybe you believe that you should also get with a guy that's also at the same level as you. Yeah. But if you look at I don't know the specific numbers, but whenever I go to date, whenever I go to, like, for example, my brother went to a speed dating event. When the women there were very successful, he looked at the guys, and if they were successful, they weren't the guys that their women would necessarily want to talk to. It's like guys with low confidence, guys who don't necessarily know how to speak to women, know how to approach women. So when I look at, like, dating in general, like, if you're successful, doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to look at you more. Now, there's other things as well. Of course, yes, as a whole, as individuals, there's more to you than just what you've done. But if we're just breaking this one part apart and saying, okay, because you've been able to achieve this, that doesn't necessarily, we don't care. Well, the guys that you want to be with won't necessarily care. The guys that might care might necessarily be caring for other reasons than you want.
I think it's hard. Obviously, Esther's not here to speak on what she said. I think I agree with you. I'm just trying to I think I disagree with you. Sorry, I'm just trying to formulate it in my head, because I think what Cheryl said is correct. I think it's very much like the idea of successful in regards to educated, or the career that we've managed to chisel out for ourselves, isn't the only factor when we're talking about successful. And I think something else that came up in that episode was, and I think maybe what Esther was also saying was that actually the women have been, especially Black women, are pushed to be aspirational. So we're pushed to be aspirational in regards to read your book, study your book, go to uni, get your career, do all these things. And I think it's very difficult now, as a woman who has done all those things, to then be told, well, actually actually in the dating pool that puts you at a disadvantage, or it's not something that's important. So, and I think it's a difficult thing to hear and to fathom and to understand, because growing up, we've been told that's what it is that we need to do to, I don't know, to honor our families and to honor ourselves. And then to hear men say, well, actually, we don't care about those things. I think that's a really difficult thing to hear.
Let's break that part down. Yeah. If you're saying that we've been told to read your books and to study hard and to get a good career, what was the purpose of that?
Well, not if we're saying, I mean, we know that's
common
experience.
Okay, that's your experience. What is the purpose of having all of those things?
I think our families are, obviously our family's priority is for their children to be stable and to have stable lives and upbringing. So, and I would say it's a common experience. I think I'm speaking for many Black, Caribbean and African. I'm of both experiences that's what we've been told. So actually, I can't tell you, I didn't tell myself that, but that was the message that I've received from my family and from the people around me. And that's, I think, the message that most Black women have received from their family and people around them.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And if I think about even the conversations that I've had with my dad, even as a teen, his thing was always like, your education will put you in a position where people can't take advantage. Whether that's career, whether that's men, whatever it may be. And it's not necessarily the physical books, the books that you're reading or whatever, but it's the steadfastness, the discipline, the all of those things that come with being kind of diligent about that part of your life will put you in a position where someone tells you 1 + 1 is 5, you can actually correct them and be like, actually, no, that's not the way. And I think if I flip it, I think men we've been brought up where the man is the head of the household, right? So, but then in seeing that, we've also seen our fathers and our uncles do some nonsense. And you know what? Our mums would turn around and be like, you know what? That's just the way he is. And actually, now we're in a position where us as educated women are turning around and saying, I don't need to put up with that. I don't need to accept that. I don't need to accept it for my life because I've been through the course. You can't tell me after all of my 10 years of studying, after all of my 10 years of coming to tell me some nonsense, it could never run. And that's also a hard pill for guys to swallow, because I think they've seen their parents' households
run the way that you've described.
Yeah. And now it's been disrupted. And we always talk about this thing of mums putting their sons on a pedestal. I see it all the time. I see it in my family. I see it with my friends. When the wife doesn't put the guy or put them on that same level, it is an issue. I do agree that our education doesn't mean nothing, because sometimes when I see men cheat and I see the woman that they had and I see the woman that they cheated with, I'm like, huh?
Yeah, but when you there's a few points you guys raised. Coco, is there something you wanted to say?
No, I'm taking everything in. I'll get my bits off at the end.
So there's a few points you want to raise. First of all, about cheating. When the guy cheats, necessarily, it's not necessarily because of something he does. It's most likely because there's a need. There's a need that's not being fulfilled by his partner, and he's looking for it elsewhere. It could just be sexual, and so definitely it's not necessarily a case of where it's like, the woman that you had that looks woman that you cheated with. Maybe she strokes his ego enough to be the point at which she makes him comfortable enough to be himself with her.
But is it that the woman's missing something, or the man has an ego he needs to be fulfilled?
Maybe it could be both, or it could be one or the other. Maybe he cheats because he wants to cheat, because it's available to him, or maybe he cheats because the other woman's giving something that he was looking for, and his wife doesn't give that to him. It depends. I can't say on every single scenario. In terms of what you said, yes, you've been told to study hard and get good careers, which is great. That's safety for yourself. That's not safety for necessarily the partner that you're going to be with, because his money is not your money. Well, no, sure, your money is not his money. His money is our money, right? So
But why is that not safety for your partner? Because if you are know that if we're together, I'm taking care of our finances. Know that I can. If you don't work, I can hold our own for the both of us.
Do you want a guy that's looking to not work?
Yeah, but you can't. Anything could happen. What if he has an accident?
Yeah, things can happen. But more time, we're not trying to be a woman that's. We're not trying to. Yes, most guys have a standard of which they will date with. So let's say, for example, she doesn't have to be like. She's not going to be a cleaner, for example, or she's not going to be on minimum wage. But it doesn't mean necessarily that he's looking for somebody to be at the same level he has. And yes, in the past, you do see examples where there has been abuse of power because the guy earns a lot more, and so therefore, whatever the relationship they have, he does things that he feels he can get away with. And also, the generation before us, this is just how guys are. They come from a different generation to we do, and they look at things completely different. But in our generation, the women and the guys that are complaining about finding women don't want them.
Can I just say we're really covering all the ground. We're covering all the ground, covering it all. And I'm literally like hearing points, and I'm like, because actually we're covering a lot of ground. Let's just reel it up small. Let's go back a bit, because I think we need to go back to what it is why it is. And I think the question really is, because I think this has come from our conversation, and probably taps into our conversation about good guys last episode, right?
Yeah, it does as well.
But again, see, I'm trying to go off on a tangent. Let me read it all the way back. So what I think the question really is why is there a disconnect between women, like male and a female expectation in dating? What is this disconnect? Because what I think we're saying is that women have and are achieving a lot more, and what I hear Kwame saying is that, well, men don't really care about those achievements. That's in a nutshell. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So what I need to understand is where's that disconnect coming from?
I would say when considering what a woman's achieved, it's not necessarily the primary reason why he's going to date her, or it's not going to be a big part of that. For example, if I speak to my guys and I speak to them about their partners, it's not necessarily the reason why they want to be with them.
So what are the reasons then that you would say that they choose their partner?
Most probably if they can find peace with that partner, if they feel like, yeah, she could be a mother to my kids, if they can feel like, yeah, this is a woman that I can be with for the rest of my life. It's not necessarily.
What does that mean? A woman I can be? What does that look like? Obviously, you can't speak for every man, but in your view, what does a woman I can be with for the rest of my life look like?
That I just won't get bored with her. That I won't feel like I'm lacking something. That I won't look outside and think, oh, but what about if I was back in the streets? This is somebody that they can feel like they don't need to be single anymore.
So would the woman's achievements take away from those qualities that you've raised?
I mean, I think sometimes they can, yeah.
In what way?
It depends. So sometimes, if, for example, she's also as high-flying as he is, then who's looking after these kids? And how is this going to work out in a family dynamic? Maybe he has an ideal he has in his mind of what his family looks like, and you can't fit into that. Or maybe you can, and it's up to him to decipher that.
But what I hear you say is that there's quite a traditional, maybe what I'm hearing you saying is that men are dating with quite a traditional view of dating, and a very, as in like old school traditional view, where a man earns more and a woman is more likely to maybe earn less, so she stays at home to look after the children, he's bringing in the bread. Or like that's the kind of setup. It sounds like you're saying men are dating, and
I'll say the guys that I talk to.
The guys that you know, and that's their requirements. Yeah, okay, sort of based on that sort of maybe old school traditional kind of idea of how dating and relationships were formed. But that's not. But the difficult thing for me is that that's not the society that we live in. That's not the society that we currently live in.
I was gonna ask a question then. So, the
I'll say just one thing about that.
Yeah,
it's just that, sorry. There's a lot of women that still also agree to that. So just because it's not necessarily a societal standard, there's still a lot of women that still also agree with that.
But I would also say that I probably do agree with that. But then, given the achievements I come with, maybe there's a stereotype that I wouldn't fit into the boxes that your people have created, like your friends have created.
Then we keep it moving. You find somebody else.
But what you're saying? Well, what are you saying that a majority of men think the way that you've described?
I would say, from my personal experience, more men think like how I do now than they don't.
So keep it moving to where?
Keep it moving to. I mean, I don't.
You know what I mean?
I don't come across guys that are complaining for women. I don't come across guys that are complaining that there's no women around. Like, I don't. This is not my example. This is not what I live through. I don't have guys that I say, no, I can't find a woman that I want to be with. More time it's like they have to make a choice about the woman that they have. But it's not necessarily a case of, there's not enough women. When you go to any event, which is singles event.
Oh, we know that. Because women are out here.
Therefore,
we know that.
Therefore, it's not necessarily a case where it's like, keep it moving to where? Because obviously there's other women.
Oh, sorry. No, when I said keep it moving, I was referring to you said I should keep it moving. I should keep it moving. We know that men can keep it moving. We know that there's a plethora of amazing women. Where there is a plethora of amazing women of all shapes, sizes, ability, achievement. We know that men have all the choice. But you're here speaking to 3 women.
I'm just saying, I'm talking from a man's point of view.
Yeah, fine.
I'm talking from a man's point of view.
Oh, we know that you're fine. Yeah, well, good for you. Congratulations. That's not what we're fine. Well done. Rubbing it in our faces. Nice, good. Sorry, Cheryl, what were you saying?
Cheryl, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask the traditional role that these men are seeking in once they're married. Are they starting with that tradition and pre-marriage? As in, because if you're saying, or the men that you're with are saying, do you know what, I want a woman that I can take care of. And do you know what, those are brilliant qualities. Like, who does not want a man that will take care of them and be like, babe, do you know what, I got this. No, every woman wants that, whether you have had no education or 20 degrees, everyone wants that. But the type of woman you're saying, as in, okay, well, if you're really educated, who's going to look after the kids? Where is that traditional setup? Does that start at the dating? Because if that starts at dating, why are men complaining that, oh, women just want us for our money? All she wants is a high value man. Like, she doesn't even know. You need to match who you're dating. So if you don't have any of those stuff, then why are you going for a man on a 70k or 100k thing? Match your energy. If that's the case, then when we go on a date, I don't need to bring my purse out. Because
I mean, but do you have to?
Do I have to what?
I think sometimes, yeah. I think
I've heard some stories. And I'm like, okay.
So what was the question?
A bit mad. Do you have to be a person?
Kwame, you're just saying you've heard some stories, so the stories would suggest that we do.
Because you hear men that say, I want to be appreciated. I want to know that my woman can, show me a good time. It's not every day that I have to pay for a date. I've heard men, even on podcasts, say, if she doesn't even
like reach for the bill,
or even on one date say, do you know what, babe, I got this. But then that contradicts everything, because I think men want their cake and eat it. You want the stay-at-home mum. You want the woman that will basically, if you earn more and you are the breadwinner and the most educated, there's a level of power that you hold, whether or not if the woman stays at home, there's a level of power that you hold. But now it's like, but why can't those other attributes be complementary to you?
Let Kwame respond to that, because I think you're right. I think there's a contradiction. So Kwame, I don't know if you can respond to the contradiction, or if you see the contradiction.
Because if you think about in the olden days, like our parents, it was very traditional, even in the dating sense.
Yeah.
The way we date now is not traditional.
All right, so there's a few points you made, yeah? So in terms of you having to bring your first out on a date, like for me, if I'm going out for you, like first few dates, I don't expect you to pay for anything.
And then
I'm asking you to come. I mean, if you want, like, here's the thing. If we were saying, yes, we have our own money, we do this, we do that, cool. I, like, for example, my girl I'm with now, there's times she takes me out. That's cool. But like majority of the time I pay. So it's like, it's not going to be a case where it's like, I don't, like, for example, I've heard people like, Monzo requests the half the bill. I'm like, that's crazy to me. Like, if you're paying, you're paying. That's it, simple.
That's even mild, Kwame. That's even mild.
Monzo request.
But then how does that translate? Okay, and you like when your girl is like,
I mean, I'm comfortable with it, yes.
But you like it, as in when she's like, babe, I've got this today. That's a nice.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it, yes.
It's a nice feeling though.
Yeah, it's cool.
In marriage,
why are you saying like that? Does it make you feel good?
In marriage,
I mean, it's still a bit different, but I'm cool with it. It's not like
okay.
So in marriage, when your partner is and shout out to all the stay-at-home moms, because it's not easy at all. That's a whole different other topic. Like, I think one thing that we've got to be clear is we're not knocking one for the other.
No. Yeah.
I think we're just trying to achieve some clarity because there's such a lack of clarity.
But yeah. So for the mums that are stay-at-home mums and are primarily relying on the man as the breadwinner, where are those situations where, do you know what, she's like, babe, do you know what, you've been working hard, I got this.
I mean, if you're a stay-at-home mom, then there's not going to be a situation like that, because most of the time you're living off what he earns, right? You're living off this one income.
And you're saying that men prefer. You're saying that generally.
I didn't say that. What I said is that they're looking at women that they can look at and say, who's going to be able to look after my children. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have to be a stay-at-home mom. When you hear that, you heard that it has to be a stay-at-home mom, because my mom wasn't a stay-at-home mom. She still earned her money and she still looked after the kids. So it's not the same. It's not the same as it's not a situation where it's like one-sided. It has to be either all of the one or all of the other. It's not that. It's more time. It's just that we're looking at something and thinking, okay, how can this be a structure within the relationship? How can we set up something that can actually work for both of us? And if it can't work, then it can't work.
And that's an interesting point, because going back to the achievements and how women's achievements are viewed, then that's an interesting point. So it's not one or the other. So if that's the case, and men are saying, okay, we're trying to understand, you know, if me and you are together, you're a high earner, I'm a high earner, how will we structure family life? But given the fact that you're both high earners and have access to resources, why wouldn't that be an attractive proposition?
I mean, it depends. Like, for example, to be an high earner, there's a certain amount of hours you need to commit to your work, right?
Yeah.
And it's more probably than the hours that they contracted you for.
I work my contracted hours, but yeah, okay.
Okay, but yeah. So if it's one of the cases, it's like, oh yeah, you're both working so that somebody else can look after your kids. Is that for some people that's not attractive? For some people, that's not what they want. They don't want it so that somebody else is raising our kids. Because if you're saying if it's resources that you have, then resources go towards somebody else basically paying for somebody to look after your kids, right?
Which means
if
it's not good for some people, that means it is good for some people.
Yeah, but I mean, some people make it work. Yeah, I'm not saying this is a one-fits-all approach and everybody's going to be in the same pot. I'm just saying, from the people I speak to, this is what they come across and this is what they tell me.
Okay.
I think we have a skewed perspective of high earning, because when I think of myself, like we talk a lot about diversifying finances, and you know, no one wants to be breaking their back, whether you want kids or not. No one wants to be breaking their back all their lives. Like for those of us who are or consider ourselves as high earners or whatever, you're working towards at some point financial freedom, for example. Isn't that attractive when you meet a woman and you're like, babe, what can, like, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day and we were talking about, as you get older, it's a lot harder because you're more aware of the things that you accept and the things that you don't accept. And now, and as you get older, you're also thinking about, okay, well, what does marriage mean to me? What purpose is this marriage going to serve? Like for those of us that are believers, like marriage is a union. It's made under Christ. It is our ministry, right? Isn't it amazing if you meet a person that has the same wavelength spiritually, financially, whether it's like, babe, okay, what moves are we making together? Because she's in that mindset. How can we build together? And I'm not saying that comes from women that are well educated. It comes from all walks of life. But isn't that mentality attractive to men? That you are not having to be the only breadwinner.
Can I just say, I feel like this is a conversation. The answer is no.
Wait, hold on. Let's let Kwame answer. Kwame, what is the answer to that question?
Go on, answer the question. Let me just.
No. Say what you want to say.
The answer is no. I feel like Kwame is the reason conversations like this between men and women always interests me, because I feel like I don't think men really get how hurtful and difficult the contradiction is to us. And I think women try to kind of like encourage men to see it, because actually, as I started off saying, we've been told to do this, and then we've done these things, we've gotten to a particular position, and men are like, nah, don't really need it, don't really want it. And we will have these conversations and try to and be like, but can't you see the value we bring in these ways?
Other than childbearing.
Yeah, fine. And men will say no. And I think we have to hear no. And I'm just at the stage, I think we have to hear the no. No, the answer is no.
I'm not saying so. So in terms of, I think as a man, you should have your own purpose and you should have your mission, and you should be concentrated on that first and foremost, and that should be aligned with God and what God has for your life. Now, in terms of having a woman that necessarily you can see you can build with, yes, that is an attractive thing. Yes, but is it the most attractive thing about a woman? Probably not.
Okay, so it's a hierarchy for some people.
Yeah, I think most
what would
of the
be
time,
the most attractive thing?
How you look. As a guy, is the first thing we eat with. We eat with our eyes. We want our woman to be attracted to us. If she's not attracted to us, it's like she could be perfect in every other department. Like she could do everything else that we want to sweat in for her. But if you don't see it attractive, then it's not going to work.
And then what comes after?
Huh?
What comes after?
Does she give me peace?
Attractive and quiet. What comes next?
No. Peace doesn't mean you have to be quiet. It doesn't mean
what does peace look like?
We asked this question early on.
Peace doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be silent and you have to be sitting in a corner. It just means, am I going to get drama and headache from you? Is this relationship going to be one that's going to be rocky, or can we just be calm for sometimes? Like, yes, there's going to be ups and downs, but I don't want the ups and downs to be more than it's like every day we're going peaks and trying troughs. Like that doesn't make sense. If she looks like she's coming with drama, just keep it moving.
Can I ask a question? So there's a few points actually. I've been listening quite quietly to everything you're saying. Actually, you are not disagreeing with what Esther said in that episode. You're actually agreeing with what she said. She said the more educated a woman is, the less viable she is to
relationships,
many types of men, because they just do not care about how much you are earning. And I think for a lot of us, like Jordan said, we were told in order to move up the ladder of viability and to get the front kind of spot on the shelf, you have to jump through all these hoops. Now that's obviously not the man's fault, because everyone's raised in different households. That's our parents who are putting on their values. So the disconnect comes from the values of how girls are being raised versus the value of how boys are being raised. And then we're flung out into this
100%.
world, and then we have to navigate this stuff independently, but everyone's speaking slightly different dialects. It's the same language, but really it's different dialects. The second thing is the thing you mentioned about cheating. I think a lot of times when people cheat, it is about the fact that they are unable to communicate effectively and have faith that they can get a resolution in what isn't making them happy. That really often isn't about the other person. And it would be a mistake to say that they find something in the other person that they're not getting in their partner, because if you are not getting something, it's your responsibility to make sure that you can communicate that to a person and try and get that resolved. If it isn't, then you separate and then you go about your way. You do not do that whilst in the relationship. There is almost zero reason for cheating. You separate and then you do what you want to do.
I get that, but I'm so sorry. Let me just say something to that point. I get what you're saying there, but this is a part of also when Cheryl said when I want their cake in the year. Maybe, for example, this is the mother of your kids. You do love her. I don't necessarily, when I say these things, I'm not saying like you're cheating. I don't
think you do.
But I do. I know guys have cheated, and I hear what they say, and it's very similar. Or it's very similar. So it's not necessarily a case where it's like they love their wife less. It's sometimes it's a need that they have, and they're selfish in that regard, and they go for it.
All right. Let me ask you this: you bought yourself a new pair of shoes. They're very nice. They're designer. I like those shoes. And I say to you, "Oh, hey, I wish I had those shoes." And you're like, "Oh yeah, cool, yeah. You told me where to buy it, whatever." You turn your back and I take your shoes. Is that the right thing to do?
I'm not. Yeah, it's not the right thing to do, and I'm not saying
so
it's the right thing to do.
I feel like because I know women that have cheated as well, and I think if we bring too much of the "I understand," it's almost as though we are placating the action. I know people who sell drugs. I know people who've killed people, and it's kind of like, cool, separate the act from the intention, because you might not have intended to do it, but the act is still wrong. So I'm not even going to express like understanding. If I was to tell you my experience, I've seen it in human form, and I can have huge compassion for a person making a mistake. I just think we shouldn't even bother to say, when I've done this was the reason why. I think it becomes very, very grey, and then we start to go, if I do that, then I can actually do this. And then it's fine. It just waters everything down. I think you should be, I'm not saying you shouldn't say it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, say what you've said and how, when you've spoken to mates and have an understanding. And sometimes it helps people to navigate not doing that, because if I can understand why my mate did it, then I can avoid it and try and, so I understand that. I'm just saying we should just be cautious about bringing the understanding before the act, because the act is still wrong.
Or the justification, is it?
Or the justification.
Yeah.
The other thing is about sorry, Cheryl, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, I think you hit the nail on the head where you said the cheating is the end product.
Yeah.
There's a bit before, and unfortunately, so many of us are so crap at communicating.
Yeah,
that's the key problem we have.
Actually do not know how to communicate.
Communication and vulnerability is a intersection of rubbishness that we are in, and then we're like, oh, I don't want to say, and then you just it just goes from there.
Yeah, and I think it's a cop-out to put your own personal actions of cheating on somebody else, because we have free will and we have independence. And it's unfair to say that I cheated because this person didn't do that.
They might not have done, but that's not why you did it.
Yeah.
They might not have been a kind person. They might have been really rude. They might have been speaking to you disrespectfully, but that's not why you did it. You did it because it for you, it serves you.
Yeah, it's a selfish act.
Yeah.
But
Two things can be true at the same time.
It's a
The third
selfish
thing
act, yeah.
I wanted to say was when it comes to women and the hierarchy that you mentioned, I think we are very much we obviously look for a certain level of security with guys. It is the baseline of most of our decision making. So when we're talking about what a guy does and financial stability and how that can pertain to sometimes emotional stability and other stuff, that stuff is important. And I think mostly it was because we were reared to find stability and to maintain that. So it can work if you are a working parent. It can work if you find it and you don't have to work. I think most of our conversations about what guys are looking for in terms of their stability, it boils down to the fact that because you're not looking for that first, you're looking for somebody who you find can take care of your child, or who's compassionate and kind and nurturing to an extent. I think we are just, again, sorry, Jordan, did I say something funny?
No. In my head, I thought you were going to say, well, you're looking for someone who's attractive. I feel like the kind of compassion and all that stuff comes after.
I feel like I honestly feel like a mean, beautiful woman will not make it in a relationship with a man. A mild-looking, compassionate woman will make it further.
I mean, you probably
I feel like mean, beautiful women go far.
Some guy will settle down with her.
With a mean, beautiful woman.
Are you guys joking? Are you not joking?
Do you not see?
I'm not joking. I feel like it's totally cap if you say that a man will stay with a beautiful woman who's an absolute B. It's not.
Here's the thing, yeah.
What world do you? Sorry, Kwame. I know you're a guest. You off, but are you joking?
I'm not joking. I'm being so serious.
Time, and Kwame has said it. I asked him, and this is why I'm saying women need to hear men. I said, "What's the first thing? Number one on your list?" He said, "Attractive." They didn't miss a beat. He didn't say all kinds of compassionate for my children. He said attractive. She needs to be attractive. I need to look at her and think, delicious. That's what he needs. That's what he needs. Number one, you're telling me that a woman who is attractive, that men will not overlook them being mean or being
at the pinnacle of attractiveness.
The pinnacle,
right? Hear men when they speak. You can be an absolute. You can be an absolute witch, but you're attractive. You're going far.
You know why that doesn't make sense? Because your second point was peace.
But it doesn't. And the thing is, it doesn't make sense, and that's why it's jokes to have these conversations, because none of it makes sense.
because you said your top two is attractive and peace. But then in the same breath, both men will date someone.
Hold on. If you have predominantly more of one, some guy will look at it and say, "Cool, I can deal with that."
But we've seen attractive. I don't know about you lot on my socials or maybe on my TikToks, whatever. I see attractive women taking the absolute mick out of men, and you think, why is he still there? What's this man still doing there? Like, she's disrespectful to the point where I'm like, oh, like, this isn't my relationship, but I'm not even feeling bad for the guy. I'm like, oh God, but let me not feel bad, because you chose your number one.
You chose to be there.
You chose your number one, and you said, treat me how you want to treat me. You are attractive. Full stop. Let me sit down with the disrespect. Let me sit down, because ultimately you give me the requirement that I'm asking for, and it's attraction. We're trying to give it all other words and feelings. The man said what he said. Number one, be attractive.
Have you never seen a guy that's punching and he knows he's punching and he looks at his woman?
She can do what she wants.
And she runs over him. It doesn't matter, because he knows he's punching within himself. He knows he's punching. He's just happy to be there.
And this is why I go back to my original point where I say men would not understand the difficulty that that we are all attractive women, don't get me wrong, absolutely. But I think there's also a particular look and there's a particular attraction that maybe we're even talking about, but we won't even get into that. But we've been sold, I feel like our families have, and I love our families, and they didn't know that they were doing this, but we have been sold, like we've just been sold, not a dream, but we've been sold a wild one.
But we've
And
been sold
actually,
two combinations of a dream. We've been sold two combinations of a dream because our families necessarily looked at things and said, cool, a lot of their relationships were dysfunctional. It wasn't necessarily, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. It was, okay, cool, let's make a life together. I can see we making a life. We've also been sold the Western side of things. It's like, no, you have to love this person. It has to be this, it has to be that. And it's an ideal we want a relationship that our families didn't have. So you bring in two different dreams and put them into one, and then you're finding that it doesn't necessarily coexist.
They don't match. Yeah.
So can I ask a question? Have you got kids, Kwame?
No kids.
You have a daughter, hypothetically.
Is she beautiful or is she ugly?
No, she's gorgeous girl.
Gorgeous.
Because that makes a difference. Because if you have an ugly girl, then
but which parent ever sees their child and says they're ugly? Even if they are but ugly, you always say they're beautiful. That's your child, isn't it?
That's an episode all by itself.
Yeah, it's just God does this thing where you're just rose tinted, rose coloured glass.
I don't think that's true. But anyway,
you think a parent can tell when their child is
that's the whole thing?
Okay, never mind.
Absolutely, you can tell because you have eyes. But anyway, go on.
You have a daughter, and you're raising your daughter. Are you raising your daughter to be educated and self-functioning, or are you raising your daughter? Are you prepping her to be a wife so that someone can come and take?
Why do the two of them have to be exclusive?
Because you told us that my books don't matter.
Yeah, so but what I'm saying is that's yeah. But hold on. At the end of the day, yeah, you need to, when you go to sleep, it's only you one that's sleeping. You know, you have to be happy with the decisions that you make, and it's only you one that's going to wake up.
Yeah, but as a parent,
let me finish.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, let me finish, Cheryl. Stop speaking.
Sorry. Karen.
As a parent, yeah. As for my child, I want you to be sufficient, but I also want you to understand that these are the guys that's out here. This is the level of guys that's out here. Because the thing is, what you guys have said is a lot of what you've been prepped for. It's not necessarily prepping you to understand what the guys are like out here.
Okay.
You have to prep them to understand that the guys that you're out with, they don't necessarily care that you have X, Y, Z. Because at the end of the day, it's not his money. It's not his house. He doesn't necessarily, as a man, you don't want a man that's looking at you and thinking, okay, cool, I'm looking for her money, or I'm looking for a yard, because those are the guys that's trying to come and feed off you.
I don't think we're talking about, I think we're not talking about money or house. We're talking about education.
Yeah, education, career is all to do what? To get money, right? That's the purpose of why you get educated.
It's for stability.
Yes, you get educated to understand.
Yeah, I agree. It's for stability. So
stability of what? Stability of finances, right?
Yeah, fundamentally.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But then, so you would. The mental gymnastics is a lot. So you would raise your daughter with the same kind of contradictory.
Because we're raising kids to be adults, right? We're raising kids. Our kids will at some point go on and marry.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are saying at this point that men don't care about education, on their list is quite at the bottom. And obviously we're in a situation now where there's a lot of educated single women because, quote unquote, men don't really care about that. Why are we still raising our daughters like that then?
Because at the end of the day, we live in a society in which if you don't have that as a person, as a human being, you're not going to survive.
Yeah, but then the man will come and take care of me anyway. Let me go and find a man that will come take care of me.
How many guys, if you look at the statistics, how many guys earn 50K or more a year?
I think you're contradicting yourself right now.
No, how many guys do what?
You've just told
guys, if you look at the statistics, how many guys earn 50K a year or more?
I think we should forget the
figure doesn't matter.
The figure doesn't matter. Okay. You've just said that men want someone that they want to be the main breadwinner. They want someone that will take care of the kids. Blah 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 blah. They don't care about education.
Mhm.
If that is the case, why
Mhm.
do I bother teaching my daughter all of those things? Why don't I just teach her, listen, this is how you get a man to take care of you. Let's attain that. Because that's what's going to get,
can you teach that?
you.
I don't know if you can teach that.
Of course you can.
Of course you can. There are people that do it all the time.
I don't know. I don't know. Because at the end of the day, for me, how I see things is that, yes, you might be able to get a guy that can do that and be the most
But you
attractive
just said
person
most
you
of your
can be for
friends
yourself.
want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is, for me, yeah, for me, as a man, I would, and in this situation where I'm looking after my daughter, I want her to be comfortable in who she is, but I want her to be the most attractive version of who she can be. So if she can be educated and she can have all that kind of stuff there, that's great. Because
But
at the end of the day, let me finish speaking, Joe.
Yeah, Cheryl, let me finish speaking.
Yeah.
Go on, Kwame.
But I also want her to understand that if you want to appeal to men, this is what men have. This is what men want. This is what men look for. So don't necessarily go in on the front foot of, oh, okay, cool, I'm successful on this and that. Be successful because you are comfortable being successful. But also understand that men don't necessarily care for your finances like that.
So everyone's got basically different motivations.
Yeah, we don't look for the same things.
And everyone's got
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Everyone's got different goals.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then we're all just looking for different things. I think the key thing to do is to marry a woman who is attractive enough to have attractive children. Otherwise, if you have ugly children, you are not going to be able to get them high on the ladder. If they are ugly, they have to work harder, because the more attractive they are, the more viable they are as a wife. Therefore, the less they need to do. Is that where we are?
I mean, we know there's something that exists called pretty privilege. People are that.
It does exist.
Yeah, so it's not something that's new, and it's not something that we don't understand. People that are pretty alive don't have to do certain things because that's just the life they live. And because of that, because of whatever we see, and men with fickle beings, you see it all the time. People put money in women's accounts just because it's on OnlyFans. Like it doesn't necessarily matter like for men. What if you're?
Do you think that these requirements that you're speaking about, Kwame, do you think it works for men?
I mean,
are you saying does it make them happier?
No, I'm asking. So that's why I wanted to know. I wanted to kind of give it in nutshell. So that's why I was like, okay, what are your requirements? So, attractive first, peace second. I don't think we even got to third, but
I think third is being able to read and write.
That's not what was said. No. See, again, women. Again, no, women. No? We've got to hear. We've got to hear what men say, and we only got to two. So I'm going to go on the two. Attractive was one, and second was peace. Attraction and peace. But
what about excitement? Because if you never get bored with her, and I think I'm quoting you from 45 minutes ago, I want to feel like I will never get bored with her, and I want to feel like, keep things exciting. I say exciting, you didn't use that word. You might be supposed to.
You're putting words in this man's mouth.
Okay, fine. I apologize.
Because I think, and the reason why I'm sorry, I'm cutting you guys off is because I think women do this. I think men will say, man, what do you want? And he'll say, I want a woman who's good looking. And we're like, what about educated?
Do you know why we can't? Do you know why, Jordan? Do you know why it's tough to accept the attraction thing? Because attraction, as we spoke about, Kwame, is preference. Preference is so subjective. There is no baseline for it. What one person finds attractive versus what another person finds attractive is not the same. I was raised in no, sorry, Kwame, just one second, Kwame. When I was younger, I said to you, I was raised in a majority non-black area. When I'm talking about baseline of pretty privilege, I do not meet those requirements. In your formative years, that's tough because all you get told is, nah, move on, move on. So what happens is if attraction is at the top of that thing, and it is for many men, and I don't meet the baseline because I live in a community that doesn't see this as attractive, I'm at disadvantage. You better get your books, girl, because
You to
Change your
move.
community.
Okay, let me say change your community. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Say you had a
Change your
horrible
community.
neighbor. Say you had a horrible neighbor. How quick can you move away from that horrible
I
neighbor?
mean, it's up to you. If the motivation's high enough, you'll do it.
How quick though?
I
Right
don't
now,
know,
you have a
but
And where are you moving?
right now you
Where
have
are
a
you
rubbish
moving
neighbor.
to?
How quick can you move away from them?
right now I've got a neighbour that's drilling. If I want, I can move in the next few weeks. It's up to me.
Okay.
I
All
think
well, that didn't support what I was trying to do, because
I know
clearly
what you're trying to do, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like, if, for example, if as you say, the area in which you're in, you're not meeting the pretty privileged requirements there. Cool, I get that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like you're not going to be pretty across to any man. You're
but
looking for just
if
one man.
if that's in your formative years, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if that's in your formative years and that's your baseline, you don't always have the tools to be like, it's just here that this is happening. Out in China, I'm popping. Out in Korea, they love this. Don't know that. You just go and you're like,
right now, we live in the information age. There's information out there if you want it. You can't sit back and say, okay, cool, I don't know it here. Because at this moment in time, we have information.
Kwame, when was
everything.
Instagram invented? We're in the
but what I'm saying, we live in this moment, like the past. We can't change the past. We can't change the past. It's
right,
happened.
but that's true. We can't change the past, but we are experiencing and navigating from our past to get here. If Instagram was invented in 2007, I don't know if it was 2012, whatever. Facebook in 2006, that is the information age, and that's why you can watch children and people in generations that are younger than us navigate this thing very differently. But from those that were before, which are usually right now the people who are having these conversations, we didn't have that. I don't know.
I get that. But at the same time, it's not necessarily okay. But you say you don't have the tools, then get the tools. Because at the end of the day, like, it's only you one that's hurting.
That's true. If I don't have the tools, I need to get the tools. Yeah.
Go to where you're loved is
to where you're
I very much
like,
and I love. It's go to where you're loved. And I think the difficult thing for Black women is that I don't think we're loved in a lot of different places. And I think it's finding the spaces that will appreciate you. And given now that we're hearing, we need to hear what men are saying, and actually their number one thing is attraction above all else.
I'm gonna get more attractive. That's what my main goal is. No, I am. That's what the goal is in life. Because if I do, I don't want to hear pim from nobody. Okay.
But that being said, Beyonce and Halle Berry both got cheated on, right?
Doesn't matter.
Both got cheated on. And
that's not a good example.
They've been listed as the most attractive women in the world.
Attraction means
and Halle Berry
what?
Yeah, you're wrong. Attractive is everything. Attractive is the baseline for society, and it's why royals and aristocrats marry beautiful people. Okay,
are you trolling?
If you do not have attraction, you are nothing in this world. Okay.
Oh wow!
I would say
I am trolling. I'm trolling because I'm taking it personally, and I said I wouldn't take.
But you know what? You don't need to, because attractive people still get cheated on.
But we don't.
That's why
we're not talking about cheating. We're talking about getting the person in the first place.
Getting the person in the first place.
Let's get through the door in it. Right now, let's get through the door. We're talking about cheating. Let's get through the door, getting married. Yeah.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah, let's get through the door, getting married, and then hopefully we communicate past any kind of cheating happening. But at the end of the day, we don't want. Right now, people are just single. So, like, cheating, you're not in a relationship yet.
True. Well, okay. Well, we don't have a lot of time left. I feel like the reality of this conversation is I didn't want to hear this, but this is the truth, and it's breaking my heart. Like, I'm so sad that you're saying this. I almost wanted you to be like, it's not true. Girls, go for it. Work hard. That's the main thing, and it's breaking my actual heart.
But do you know what? I think in our current climate, where prices are going up, that's going to change. Because no man's got or very few men have got a 60k deposit to buy a house.
I get that, but the thing,
electricity is going up.
But also, no, don't come and find me now because the cost of crisis, living crisis.
But that's what people do when times are hard. You cohabitate because it's cheaper.
Go and cohabitate with the woman that you found conventionally attractive.
I mean, they probably
Who
will.
doesn't earn as much as you.
They probably will.
Who don't, that can't even, sorry, I've taken offense to that. I don't know
Do you know what? I can see we've all taken this so personally.
No. But the thing is, I feel like we have
I'm going to talk to my therapist about this.
We have to, I'm like, Maria. But the thing is, I think we have to have these conversations because I think we need to understand where we stand. And I think the work I do, I see it. The question that I asked, and the reason why I asked it was, do men think this works for them? Is because the work I do, and I work with couples who have separated or going through divorce and who are fighting over the children. I see it all the time, and I just think, if only you'd asked us some more questions. If only you were blinded by the light, like you saw this woman. Fire. Even she walks into my office, I'm like, whoa, gosh, what an attractive. The children, attractive. Everybody's attractive. But we're obviously going through a divorce now, so things didn't work out. So,
yeah,
and I asked the background questions. How did you guys meet? You know, blah, blah, blah. What was it? And honestly, I just think to myself, it's not, I was expecting Kwame's answers. It's not a surprise to me because I've learned when men speak, hear them. Don't give it all the fluff. Don't ask all the questions. When men say, what's your number one thing you're looking for in a woman? What she looks like. Cool. I've heard you. I'm not going to give it anything else. Lovely, jubbly. But the question is, does it work for you? And I would say, no. More
time it doesn't. More time it doesn't.
So actually, it's even silly. So we're having jokes about attraction and blah, blah, blah. But actually, even these requirements that men give to the dating world doesn't even work for them.
No, more time it doesn't. But as you said, you don't ask questions. Some guys, if you don't ask questions, you're not going to understand who that person is.
But they're so bamboozled by the
because as I said to you, they're happy to be here. They're happy to be here. Until a certain point in time, it's like it's too much. I can't deal with this. I can't pay all the bills. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I'm stressed. But then at the same time, looking over his missus like, I still love you. And maybe she leaves because, you ain't got no money there. And then it's like, okay, cool, keep it moving. But
then surely there needs to be a change.
I would think so.
I think, here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's the change is probably for that kind of guy to understand what he wants and why he wants it. And then assess from there if you can deliver at that point. But at the same time, like as a man, like for me, like I've gone through marriage, I've gone through divorce, I understand what it's like, and I'm not trying to go through that again. So the questions I asked this time around won't be the same kind of questions I asked the first time around. And so yes, this happens, but at the same time, we live and you learn, innit? And as men, we have to adapt, we have to change, we have to change how we see things. But at the same time, if the guy sees the woman as an 11, a lot of things are just going to go out of his mind.
Yeah, as we see. A
lot of the time, it's a carnal brain.
Do you mind if I ask you a question? You said that you've been through divorce. What questions are you not asking, or what new questions are you asking, having been through that experience?
You've got to ask what are the expectations of you and what are the expectations of your partner. How do you see things going together in the life? And understanding what it means to be in a relationship. What does it mean to be married? What does that look like to you? And even what does your wedding day look like? Because people, like, sometimes women have an expectation of your wedding day, and you're looking at like, I can't be doing this, I can't be doing all of that. So it depends. And also, because for example, a lot of people put a lot of pressure on this one day. So therefore, if it doesn't go to the plan that they want it to be, it becomes a problem.
I think on that note, we need to wrap up, ladies. And gents. We've really had discussions today. We've had discussions. I just want women to hear men. I just want them to hear men, hear the words, and even decide if this is the men you even want to be dating. If this is the pool you want to be in, hear the words. Let's not give it anything else. Let's hear the words and make decisions for ourselves. Because I know I'm happy to be in the position. As much as I complain, I'm happy to be in the position that I'm in because actually I am in a stable position. And I think it's for me, it's a hard pill to swallow that's not going to be enough for people, but I have to accept that it's going to be enough for me. And I'm so blessed to be in a position where I'm not having to rely on anybody else. and I can live the life I want to live. And it just may be harder to find a partner because those things.
You're only really looking for one person, right?
Yeah, just the one.
So at the end of the day, you can find a guy that necessarily he might prize it differently. So and we're not always the same. So as men, yes, you come from different households, you have different expectations, and some guys look at these things differently. Just the ones I've spoken to that don't.
Just the ones don't. Okay.
Well, we didn't get through everything we wanted to chat, so you have to come back.
You must come back. Yeah.
I'm gonna go and speak to my therapist, get the tools, and come back. I'm coming to get you, man. Like I disagree with some stuff, and I like some of the stuff you said. I have a lot of respect that you're speaking honestly, and like I said earlier on, obviously it breaks my heart because we romanticize a lot of this stuff that we say. We say men are trash, but we don't mean that. We're generalizing. We're being hyperbolic. Sometimes we're joking for entertainment. But it is hurtful to feel as though you might not be good enough, even though really our key focus should be, what does God think our value is, not what does man think our value is. Because in going to every flower to get an opinion of yourself like a bee, you will some things won't work for you, and you're taking in and scooping up all of those people's negative reviews of you, and maybe the opposite, which might be worse, where you're taking everyone's positive reviews of you and getting an inflated sense of ego. You're not doing this right. It's not humbling you. And I was having to think about it, and I was like, my thing is that I trust whoever God brings is going to be the kind of person who will understand my personality and the strengths that I bring and the things that I care about. Even if they don't care about it, because they appreciate me as a person, not by my achievements. It's annoying because I put so much effort into my achievements, and I basically built my identity around that. And that is a bit of idolization that I'm trying to break down. But frankly, when you have parents who struggle, that they want their failures to be your successes. And then I stood on that and I made that my identity, and that's not cool. So that's between me and God. That's not between all of y'all. But genuinely, thank you for being honest. When you come back the next time, because that's an open invitation. I got more stuff to fight with you about. About the good guy versus the nice guy.
Waiting to say something, but yeah.
No, carry on. I'm listening.
The good guy versus the nice guy. Like, I want to talk about safe spaces for the good guys, and some of the stuff that women say and do that can be hurtful to guys, because we're shooting our mouths off, but maybe we're saying stuff that are breaking people down.
I mean, I think some guys get hurt by stuff you guys say.
Listen, guys, this is the whole.
That's a whole new episode. You can't come with your list.
Stop it.
Yes,
I know, but let's Kwame. Where can people find you? What are your socials?
Just follow me at Taylor Different.
At Taylor Different. Okay, cool. Well, and we'll tag you as well when we post this episode. We'll tag at Taylor Different as well. So that people can find you and maybe continue this conversation in your DMs. Are you ready? Kwame,
come true. We entertain all things except when it comes to nonsense, and then we just got to keep it moving.
What about respectful nonsense?
Okay.
I mean, it's still the end. The last word is still the same, right?
We'll keep it. Everybody keep it respectful all the time. Please. All right, guys. Well. You know what to do. Follow us on all our socials, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Spotify, on Apple. Listen to us, rate us, review us. Send this episode to other guys who put attraction above everything else. Do they agree? Do they agree with Kwame? I'd love to know the male take on this. But guys, until the next episode.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.